So I heard you got a compliment today that you were meant for the internet. What do you think about that?
We are not starting with that.
That you were meant for the internet.
She said that, and then she said, "Hello world, hello friends. We're here with Zach, founder of Data Expert, which copied Infra Expert, my product."
Hell yeah.
And what did you do? Your thing is you quit your $600,000 Airbnb job to become a founder and a full-time content creator.
Yep.
And here we are on a Tuesday night filming content.
Yeah. Exciting.
After like 4 conferences that we've been to in the last.
The battery right now is pretty low.
It's a low battery, but we're still pushing out the content because Zach is a winner and he has forced us to do this, and I love it.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. Consistency. That's how you win.
So good. Okay, so tell us about your journey and why you decided to do that.
So when I was thinking about my journey over the last couple of years, I just recognizing that like I was following a couple people on the internet who like really inspired me. There's a guy named Justin Welsh.
Were they the embodiment of the internet though?
Yeah, I mean, for real though. Like there's a couple of people. I remember hearing a quote around, Tom from MySpace, how he like sold MySpace for like $500 million and he's just been like taking photographs for the rest of his life.
I love that for him.
And it's amazing. And I'm like, that's so cool that he wasn't like, oh, I need to go found another company. I need to go and grind it out. He's like, no, I'm just going to live my life and enjoy it. Right. And I guess for me, one of the things that I recognized near the end of my time at Airbnb was climbing the ladder further, like going to like staff, senior staff, principal, trying to get to like literally the top dog engineer in big tech, which was like what my goal was for 10 years. And
you did become that.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I was really close to getting promoted one more time at Airbnb, actually getting to like senior staff. And like that was the other path that was in front of me when I was like making this decision of like entrepreneurship, or should I like go and like try something out. I remember, I think when I was in 2022, when I was like 2 years deep, because I started in content in 2021. So 2022 was like when I was like, okay, I actually want to do this like a lot more. And I remember there was a couple moments where I realized that I couldn't do both full time. Otherwise I went insane, because I remember
that was me the last few months.
Yeah, for real.
I was trying to do a full-time job and then a part-time job and then another part-time job and then content.
Yeah, you're just like just smashing it all in there. And you're like, the only way that you can do that is by you take away from the sleep bucket and the mental health bucket. And then you're like, hey, guess what?
Both of those buckets are empty.
Yeah, you're just completely, you're like, but I'm making money.
I do like money more than I like sleep.
And like, I remember for me, this was like April of 2022. That was when I was like, I need to do YouTube. And I like started doing these like SQL trainings, these live SQL trainings. And I got 1,000 people to show up, right?
That's crazy.
Live. I got 1,000 people to show up live. And I did 4 of them like every Friday for a while working at Airbnb and still while pushing out content at LinkedIn. And then like near the middle of May or so, like I like got really like, I just burnt out. I was like, this is too crazy. And then I was like, okay, that was my moment. My first moment where I was like, I need to leave Airbnb. This is my calling. This is like the universe is telling me to go right now. But I hesitated. I definitely hesitated then, because it was crazy, because the universe was giving me so many signals to leave. So it was like all that was happening, nasty burnout. And then the great resignation. Remember that at all? So at Airbnb, all of my adjacent managers quit. So
that was in 2022.
2022.
That was when I quit too.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Everyone left like around then, right? And so I stayed.
We're the great resignators.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I stayed for another 6 months like an idiot.
Oh. I am. You're just an idiot.
No, you caught the trend. You knew you were on the right trend. Right?
Yeah, I got it on the bull.
Yeah, for sure. Like the quitting bull market.
Yeah.
Because 2022 is actually like a kind of a bad year for the markets, right? But like for quitting, it was great.
Yeah. No, but it would have been smarter if I had just waited like 8 months or so, and then I would have gotten laid off and gotten severance.
Yeah. No, that's smart. Yeah.
Like I could have quiet quit and then but
for sure.
But this way I went out with dignity. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, burning yourself out with 8 months of like just doing the bare minimum to like try to not get fired, that also just sounds like a heavy tax to pay, right?
Yeah, even at Google I was burning myself out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
that's also because of part-time content and part-time like divergent attention.
Yeah, there's you just get no downtime, right? It's freaking brutal. That was
What's that?
Yeah, what's downtime? All right, I'm still trying to find it myself.
This is our downtime. This is us having downtime right now.
100%.
This is actually fun though. So
I mean,
put our feet up.
I think for me, what happened was like, so I had doubts, right? Because I was like, I could get promoted. I could be a principal engineer. I could easily be making $1 million a year as a principal engineer.
Which you're already doing. So.
Well, I mean, but
as a big tech guy.
But that was guaranteed though. I viewed the path of like being a principal engineer in big tech as long as I just like kept doing what I had already proven.
Nothing is guaranteed, and that's what we've seen in the last year. It's like
for sure.
Nobody's job is guaranteed.
Yeah, 100%.
Not to scare you.
And like
fear mongering.
AI is taking your job.
Not even AI, just the economy.
The economy.
It's cyclical.
It's cyclical.
Not, yeah.
We're in a shit market right now for sure. So I guess like for me, I had a lot of this momentum because it's like I'd been doing it for like 8 years, right? And it's like 2016 to 2023. It was crazy. And like that path like was like, I could tell it was like ingrained. And that's why I hesitated, because I was like, I've been on this path for a long time. And ultimately, like, in October of 22, that's when San Francisco broke me. That's when a drunk driving Tesla crashed into my house, and homeless people were like shitting in my doorstep. There was like a lot of crazy shit was happening.
San Francisco is a great place. This is a one-off occurrence.
Yeah, and I was also living in the worst neighborhood in San Francisco, right? So like also just recognize
when there's more context that we don't need.
This is like, you know, if you're paying $1,000 a month in rent, this is the experience you get. Like, so
that's right.
That's right. And I learned a lot. I learned my lesson. But then so that broke me. San Francisco broke me, and then I left, and I decided to do like digital nomad for a little while, right? So like from like October of 22 until February of 23, I did digital nomad, and I did like a creator house, and I lived with a bunch of YouTubers in January. I learned a lot, and after living with them, it made it very clear that like I can do this. I can build something awesome, and I can do it with confidence. And that was what ultimately allowed me to like finally like break through that inertia of like leaving Airbnb and actually like chasing my dreams and actually going for it. And then it's been great. I mean, I think initially after I quit, there was a couple months there where like I'm like, you are the biggest idiot ever, Zach. Like, why did you do that? Right? Like, what are you doing? Like,
you had a thing, $600K.
Think about it this way: even for you, Delia, like Airbnb is also like work from anywhere.
Yeah,
that's
like
it's remote, right? It's $600K
but I feel like
remote.
if you just moved to Thailand or something, they'd be
on
your
wouldn't.
ass.
No, they wouldn't.
Not at all.
Okay. I worked at Airbnb for 2 years and 1 month, right? I went to the office one time.
Wow.
No offsites. The only thing it is, I went to the office one time, and I got greatly exceeds expectations on my performance review, right? Crushed it, right? And I didn't even go to the office. Like I went the two times I went to the office were like one was like just to visit one day,
let me
and
check
one
that
was
they can still see us.
Yeah, can we see that? Is there a way to?
Zach, you got to dance for the lights to come back on. Okay, we ran into some technical difficulties, so what a perfect time to tell you about our sponsor, Careerist, that helps you get remote tech jobs. So the 3 keys for me when starting my tech career was real-world experience through 4 internships, guidance from incredible mentors, and mastering the tech interview process. So that's where resources like Careerist can help with hands-on training, career coaching, mentoring, and real-world internships that give you the support and experience that you need to land a remote tech role. And there's tons of tech roles. It doesn't have to be data science like Zach or software engineering like me. There's so many more paths like software QA engineering, which is actually the easier one for beginners and how a lot of people get started in the field if you don't have a tech degree. So if you're interested in a remote tech career, check out the reviews, click the link below to learn more if you also want to work remotely and start a tech career. And now let's fix those technical difficulties.
So when I initially quit my job, I was like thinking, because I always, at least back then, this is something I've shifted my mindset about a little bit because it's made me feel happier, is just like being very aware of like opportunity cost. Yes. So it's like the first couple months, because I was like, so it's like the way I looked at it was like every single day that I wasn't making money as an entrepreneur, I was losing like, $2,000, right? roughly speaking, right? And it's like, because that was the money I was giving up by not working at Airbnb. And so it's like, okay, like I gotta
That's kind of crazy.
I need to give up. That's what I'm giving up to freaking do this journey, right? And so I gotta make it worth it. And so that's where like there was a couple months there when I was like making nothing, where I was like, I'm an idiot. Like, this is crazy, right? And that's when I was like, okay, I need to get something going, get a boot camp going. And that's actually how I initially priced my first boot camp. Was I was like, I'm going to price it and get enough people where my per hour is exactly the same as Airbnb, right? Because I was like, I need to just get
that
back.
is not proper. I mean, I have a business degree. That's not how you price things, Zach.
Oh no, I mean, ultimately, I realized I underpriced, right? I actually,
exactly.
I underpriced a lot.
It's supply and demand, my friend. That is how you price.
For sure, 100%. And I launched sales for the second version of the boot camp, right? And I made $100,000 in one day. And I was like, okay, maybe being an entrepreneur is better. Maybe it's better.
Maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, maybe.
That's 50x on your Airbnb
exactly.
day.
I'm like, okay, this is the same as like in one
50 Airbnb days.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, it's the same as like working for 2-3 months at Airbnb, but in one day, right?
Yeah.
And so like that was something that I found freaking really like astonishing.
Yeah, no, so you would have made 50K a month, so that's 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months,
that's
right?
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad, right? And so like that was when I first was like, okay, this journey is different. It's better in some regards. And I was like, or it can be better. Because initially before that day, I'm just hoping to like, you know, not dip into savings, right? Because there's like kind of those 2 points that you can meet, right? You can meet your expenses, so like you're not dipping into savings, or you can meet your old income, right? So that you're actually like making more money than you were as an employee. And so like I think that like when you're initially starting out as an entrepreneur, aiming for meeting your expenses is a much healthier thing. And I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have been like, okay, my goal is to make like my rent in San Francisco, or my goal is to make like
which is what he does with a newsletter now.
Yeah, newsletter is great. Newsletter is so good. I launched my newsletter around the same time I had that $100,000 day.
Nice.
And but like then after
that is a much healthier mindset though.
Yeah, it is.
Trying to meet, like, especially if you're just quitting your job and then you're trying to meet your old income, that's unrealistic. And unrealistic expectations means unhappiness.
Yep. And you're gonna be more likely to go back as well, and you're gonna be more likely to be unsuccessful as an entrepreneur. Because keeping in mind, like, entrepreneurship is, most people fail, right? Most people, it's like,
I think it's 98% or something insane.
I don't think it's 90. I think it's like 90%.
For businesses.
Yeah.
But like, I think creators aren't included in like traditional businesses. Like, I remember reading that, but that was like pre-creator economy boom. So I don't know if that's accurate.
It's still risky. Still very risky.
Honestly though, for whoever's gotten this far, I don't think they care that much about lighting.
Yeah, they care about the content.
That's right. We're just talking now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so like, what about you? Like, I'm curious. I want to hear more about your journey. Like, what motivated you?
No, this is a video about you.
This is a video about me. We gotta know. I thought we were talking about quitting jobs. I thought this was like an episode.
Oh, we were talking about quitting jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was totally different. Because I am not as ballsy as you. I did not want to quit to go on my own creator entrepreneur journey, which honestly would have probably been a better ROI at this point. But I really liked the idea of like joining Algo Expert and having a sure like lump sum payment for creating something, and then also getting passive income from it. That's what really attracted me to the idea of quitting my job, because I was like, I'll make like 2 years Google salary and then have passive income for a bunch of time. It was actually supposed to be passive income indefinitely. Yeah. Which would have been very cool, but that was the lawyers had to fix that.
Yeah. I mean, you know what's so crazy is that like I had this business deal for this Magic the Gathering app that I made 10 years ago. And what it was I get 1% on the lifetime sales of every customer that I introduced to them. I still get paid. I still get money from that. It's like $20 a month, but like,
but
it's something though. And I'm just like,
that's 2 coffees for you.
Yeah.
That's 2 days of living in San Francisco and getting a coffee.
Yeah, but it's like, but that's for freaking something that I built 10 years ago that I haven't iterated on, right?
Yeah. It's funny because I used to look at this kind of content and I used to be like, wow, that's such a scam. You can't work from anywhere. You can't have passive income. Like, you know, I had all these limiting beliefs and this like scarcity mindset that was partially a result of like post-communist parents. So like my mom, she saw you on Instagram the other day and she was like, that's not real. Like, that guy's like, you're friends with him, right? Like, he never made 600K at Airbnb. Like, that's impossible. Yeah. And I was like, no, Mom, like, this is real. Like, this is how much engineers that know what they're doing make in San Francisco. And she was just mind blown.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Because we have all these limiting beliefs and all this like scarcity mindset. And then it's crazy that you can make so much more than that as an entrepreneur. But most people are either like in the scarcity mindset of, no, I can't do that, or or it's like fear, right?
And
which is a natural thing.
And I think there's other things though that I think are important things to question, like, or ask yourself, like, before you start an entrepreneur journey, because I also firmly believe that entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Oh, right? I agree.
Because that's like, I think the internet sometimes makes it seem like, oh, you can just you can be an Amazon FBA boy and freaking make $100,000 a month by like clicking buttons on Amazon, right? And then like, and it's like, no, it's more complicated.
Definitely
than
not.
that. And like, I think
maybe back in the day, but
yeah, back when it was not as saturated, right?
Yeah, same with dropshipping. Dropshipping used to be a really like, I tried that for a bit and it actually worked, and that was the first online money I ever made, and I was like, whoa. Oh my god, it's not a scam. That's wild.
You're like, I actually can pay for something.
I know, yeah, it was crazy. But that was before it got saturated, so that's an important.
Yeah, it's important to I mean, that's why I'm trying to, just squeeze the shit out of data engineering before it gets saturated, right? Because it's getting
a little saturated. Same with software engineering.
Yeah, it's getting there. I think like other things to think about, like, and to ask yourself, because I've had a couple conversations with some of my friends. Like I have this friend Nikita who's like, she's like a VP at Facebook or something like that. She's very high up, and like I was talking with her about like, why don't you? What are you doing? Like, why don't you just go and do your own thing? Like,
well, not everybody wants to make a course, for example.
Well, yeah, but there's like so many other ways that you can build a business, right?
Yeah, you can monetize in a lot of ways.
And like, but one of the things that I think is interesting though is that like there is an element of like you have to be self-driven. Like there is a point. Like,
100%.
You have to know what to do next, and like. Or you have to set up systems to hold yourself accountable. Like for a while, what I did.
Like make a friend like Zach.
Yeah, for sure. Like and like accountability is a big thing. So for me, one of the things I did this. It was so uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable thing I did. So what I did is I got my 4 best friends in a room, and we talked for an hour. And I told them, I'm like, I want you guys to be as frank as you can be with me. And what I want you to tell me is, 1 is I'm about to start this new journey, and where do you think I'm gonna make mistakes? And 2, like, what are the behaviors that I'm currently doing that interfere with my happiness and well-being, right? And I asked my 4 best friends, and they were all in the room together because I wanted to hear like similar things. And also like feedback from one person is different than like if you get it from 4, because then you absorb it and you're like 4 people from, because for me, I had people like friends from Utah, friends from Facebook, friends from like Airbnb. I had friends from like my whole life, right? From like people who had known me for a very long time, for people who've known me for like 5 years, right? It's like, and like I got just a ton of feedback from them on like how to live a happier, healthier life, and like absorb that. And like it was great. And then Wesley is my accountability person. Like for like my first year as an entrepreneur, on Saturday or Sunday, we would like play video games, and then we would talk about business, right? And then it's like if I didn't have anything to talk about, I would always be like, dude, I can't disappoint Wesley. I can't just show up and play Halo with him and then have him be like, bro, what are you doing, right? And like, because I wanted to as every week have something awesome to talk about, right? And like, and then it was great because he started off as that accountability buddy, and now like he's actually like an engineer in the company, right? He's actually like working for me, and it's like, it's really cool how like things can happen like that. Yeah.
I joined an accountability group, and we're meeting every Saturday and setting goals, and then if you don't meet the goals, you owe the other people money.
Yeah, that's
a really good way to stay accountable.
That's beautiful.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. That's like the way to like actually like do it. I think that like hacking your brain in order to like actually like hold yourself accountable to doing what you're supposed to do.
I am the best at hacking my brain.
For sure.
I am always delusionaling myself.
Oh, delusionaling? Yeah. But then you undelusion.
Gaslighting myself. What advice would you give for anybody that wants to get into data science? And what advice would you give for anyone who wants to become a founder?
For sure. So with data science, big thing I think people get caught up with is like, you got to learn the new fanciest algorithms. You got to learn all about like, like transformers and XGBoost and all these like other non-explainable models that are like complicated, right? And like complexity is kind of almost worshipped in data science. It's very strange because that's actually not what data science is meant to do.
It's meant to simplify.
It's meant to simplify and solve business problems, right? And so understanding like how your work actually relates to the business and how it's going to solve the business problems, and understand that like a simpler solution might be better is going to be, and importantly, I actually think more than a simpler solution is an incremental solution might be better, because I think a lot of times data science projects feel like they are, there's a crazy stat. It's 80% of data science projects fail, right?
Wow. Hey, it's still better than businesses.
Yeah, better than businesses, but worse than software engineering, right?
What is the stat for software engineering?
Most websites and stuff. I don't know. I bet it's not 80%.
Data science guy doesn't have a number for this.
I don't have a number.
Stuff out of your butt.
That one is straight out of the ass for sure. All right, but
all right, we'll trust it. We'll trust it.
Okay, and I think for entrepreneurship, right, is you want to be able to understand how to stay motivated. Motivation is a super important part. Gaslight yourself, like have unshakable optimism. It's very important.
I think both of us are extremely optimistic people. If we weren't, we would not be good entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be almost delusional. Optimistic.
Be delulu.
Yeah, but if you are that way, that's how you really win, right? And
For real.
I mean, and I think other things that you should do, like for data and data science stuff, is you should definitely follow me. My channel is Data with Zach. I
Shameless
post
plug.
all about data science and data engineering concepts, and yeah, it's great.
So good. He was in the keynote at Data and AI Summit last week. That was something. That's how good it is. So yeah, follow Zach. Follow this channel if you're not subscribed already. I would super appreciate that. Leave a like. Leave a comment of what you found the most helpful out of what Zach said. There was a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, a lot of bombs dropped. That was good. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us and for forcing me to film this podcast episode.
Of course, consistency crushes it.
Yeah, that was nice. That was helpful. See you guys next time.